NCAA Women's Championship in San Antonio, and we are ready for an All-American showdown. Ryan Howard, the two-time first-team All-American, leads Kentucky against Iowa, and freshman sensation Caitlin Clark, a second-team All-American and the nation's leading scorer. From Bill Greehey Arena at St. Mary's University, the 4 seed Kentucky faces 5th seeded Iowa with a spot in the Sweet 16 on the line. This is the Riverwalk region. Kentucky with a round 1 win over Idaho State. Iowa knocked off Central Michigan. The winner of this game will face the winner of tonight's matchup between Syracuse and top-ranked UConn. It is great to have you with us with the Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings. I'm Eric Freed. We are thrilled for this matchup. 2 really good teams, Tamika, and 2 elite players. Let's start with Ryan Howard for Kentucky.
Well, what more can you say about Ryan Howard? 2-time Player of the Year for the SEC. She comes into this game, you could tell she's been focused and had literally put this team on her back. What can Ryan Howard not do? Well, at 6'2", she runs the 1 all the way to the 5 if need be. Her versatility and what she's able to do. She can score from the outside. That 3-point shot, create any type of shot that she wants. But I think one of the most impressive things that when you watch Ryan Howard, what she can do on the floor, she gets her teammates involved. You see her numbers right there. 20.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game. Just dominates when she's on the floor.
She's gone for 30 or more 4 times this season and 7 times in her 3 years at Kentucky. Caitlin Clark, freshman for Iowa, has stormed onto the scene in college basketball, leading the country in scoring. She's dominating when it comes to scoring, but also sharing the basketball and getting her teammates involved.
Well, a lot of the same things you can say about Ryan Howard, you can say about Caitlin Clark. And she came out, her debut on Sunday for the NCAA, and she did not disappoint. 23 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. So not only doing it on the offensive end, which you can see she can create, she can get to the basket, the inside-out game, which she is phenomenal with. But the thing that I love most, the assist, the behind-the-back, definitely one of the top players for the NCAA tournament thus far.
Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes, 19 wins on the season. Kentucky with 18 wins. A spot in the Sweet 16 is on the line. The trophy is in good hands. I think we'll get a step closer. Iowa and Kentucky next. We all know what Caitlin Clark has done. The freshman leading the country in scoring, tied for second when it comes to assists. So that is the key matchup. Kentucky has an all-defensive team selection. The player who led the SEC in defensive in steals in Chastity Patterson. So today, Chastity Patterson texted her head coach, Kyra Elsie, and told her how excited she was. I want to be able to smell what Caitlin had for breakfast. That's how close she's going to get to her defensively. That's the plan, at least. But Kyra Elsie told us, Tamika Catchings, it won't just be Patterson, the senior stopper. It's going to take a team to keep Caitlin Clark in check. Iowa and Kentucky ready to go in round 2. Kentucky in the home white wins the opening tip. Jasmine Massengill at the point, off to Patterson.
Well, Eric, this is going to be a great game. Like you said, defense, I feel like it's going to be the priority. When you look at Ryan Howard, who has the ball right now from the Kentucky side, and Caitlin Clark on the Iowa side, you have your 2 stars you'll be looking at, but I think this game is going to be decided by the supporting cast.
Capital One starting lineup for Iowa. No seniors in the starting 5. McKenna Warnock has posted 3 straight double-doubles. Kate Martin is the co-captain, real gritty player. And Monica Sinano could have a very big game here for Iowa. They'll look for her on the inside against this Kentucky defense.
Well, I think that's going to be really important. They have to get Monica Sinano, they have to get her touch it down low. She's got to establish herself down low. So you play the inside-out game. Iowa, obviously, we know they can knock down the 3-point shot from the outside. But Sinano will be a key factor.
Saved by Sinano. Kick back out for 2 for Gabby Marshall. Number 1 on the team in three-point shooting, just inside the arc there. Good outside range. As you take a look at the Kentucky starting five, they have two seniors. Howard's a junior. The seniors are Wyatt, who's making her 12th straight start, and Patterson, as I mentioned, SEC all-defensive team selection, who's a very good scorer as well, and Patterson can't get that to drop. Sonano the rebound.
Well, you got to like the pace that Kentucky's playing at. Both possessions, they used the clock, and that was something Coach Elsie said this morning. We've got to use the clock and get the right shot, not settle for just jacking up shots, as she said. Make sure to get the right look.
Kate Martin with a strong drive to the basket. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Iowa will be Kentucky ball. Well, you already got a look. Patterson trying to see if she could smell what Caitlin Clark had for breakfast. So close to her, shadowing her on the defensive end. But Tamika, it may not be the scoring of Howard or the scoring of Clark that decides this game. It could be how they get their teammates involved in being facilitators here today. Well, it's interesting because both coaches put so much emphasis on the stars and what they had to do. But really the emphasis is the stars are going to attract a lot of attention. Other players have to step up. They can't watch. They got to move and make themselves open and get open looks. And knockdown shot. Kentucky settles for an outside shot for Wyatt. Here's Clark in transition. Use the dribble to get free. Got enough space against Patterson and knocked down a three. And a great start for Iowa and an early timeout for Kentucky.
We can't say enough. Iowa had come ready to play, but Caitlin Clark leading the charge. Step back three. I'll take it.
The CAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? And in part by Geico. You could save even more by bundling home and car insurance.
Iowa got off to a great start in round one, an 87-72 win over Central Michigan. They had 4 in double figures. And how about the start against Kentucky for the Hawkeyes and Caitlin Clark? Catch.
Yeah, you got to love that energy. She has come out that last shot, that three, nice little step back right into her shot. And those stats right there are really, really interesting. So not only are you running her off the double three-point line, 25 feet beyond, she's shooting 42%. You're trying to get her a little bit closer.
So you're telling me she likes a challenge. She likes to raise the degree of difficulty just a little bit. We've heard quite a bit about how competitive she was growing up, especially tagging around her older brother, Blake, who's now a football player at Iowa State. So I'm sure back in the day she had to find that three-point line, got deeper and deeper and deeper, but she's made the most of it. Here's Howard, who has unlimited range, but she can't hit. Slow start for Kentucky. They are 0 for 4 from the field here in the opening 3 minutes.
Well, not just 0 for 4, but they're not even getting on the board. So Iowa doing a great job of getting one and done, and Kentucky not able to start. Sonano getting their first basket down low.
Now Clark guarding Howard. Wyatt rolls to the basket, and an offensive foul taking the charge was Kate Martin. Blue collar, gritty player. She'll take the contact.
Yes, and she gets over just in the nick of time. Tatiana Wyatt not able to control herself and barrels into Martin.
So one of the big keys for Lisa Bluter, as we talked to her this morning, was handling the Kentucky pressure. Of course, you've got to make shots to put the press on if you're Kentucky, and so far they're 0 for 4 from the field.
Well, one of the keys also for Bluter was defense. And she said our defense has to be better than it was against Central Michigan. If you think about the game on Sunday, Michaela Kelly had 20-plus points first quarter, and she came out and said, we have to do a better job in stopping Kelly.
That won't drop. That won't drop. McKinney kept it alive after Howard kept it alive the first time. Massengill to Kiki McKinney one more time, and Sonano stood her ground and got the block. Kentucky ball.
Well, Iowa doing such a great job. You can tell they are playing team defense. For whatever reason, Kentucky looked a little hesitant with their shot. They got to go up strong and finish shots at the basket.
Substitutions for Kentucky. They bring Dre Edwards into the game. Howard off the mark, and a rebound for Clark. Shadowed by Patterson. Drive won't go for Warnock, but again, on the glass, Iowa making the most of their second chance opportunities, dominating on both ends of the floor here in the first 5 minutes.
Well, one of the other keys that I was looking at is handling Kentucky's press. And Kentucky can only set up their press when they're making baskets, so they've got to do a better job. They've been really good at using the clock, but they're not. Their shots are just not falling in the moment.
Blair Green also into the game. Good off the bench for Kentucky. Has to force up a shot to beat the shot clock and does so to get Kentucky on the board.
I just talked about the press. 5 minutes into the offense, into the start of the game. Kentucky finally able to get on the scoreboard.
Edwards has the rebound. Here's Patterson. Little off balance. Edwards can't get the putback. Shooting woes continue, but at least Kentucky fighting a little bit more on the glass. They come up empty, and Clark is looking up ahead to Sinano.
Those two, the way that they played, the way and how they play together, they are always looking for each other. One is always, it's almost like you have one eye on each other during the whole game. And Sinano, able to finish it in the break.
Foul called on Marshall. Kentucky's key was to push the pace, but it's Iowa pushing the pace every chance they get here against Kentucky.
Well, it's that hustle play. That's what started it all. Sinano leaking out a little bit earlier, but Caitlin Clark always knows where Sinano is on the floor.
Foul on Gabby Marshall, her first, and Ryan Howard will head to the free throw line. She's 0 for 3 from the field so far. Has her first point, averaging a little bit better than 20 points a game. Leading the team in scoring, leading the team in rebounding, leading the team in assists, the only player in the SEC to lead her team in all three of those categories this year.
Well, you gotta love the challenge that Coach Elsie put on Ryan Howard. She didn't want her to just be known as a scorer. She wanted her to be a better defender. She wanted her to be a better rebounder. I know. Caitlin Clark to the basket.
Edwards quickly back the other way. You saw Iowa had no trouble with the Kentucky press the first time they were bringing it up. And again, a couple of quick passes, and here they are. They're looking to score once they break this press.
Well, their last play was a little bit unorthodox when they had two different players stepping out of bounds. And then you got the ball to Caitlin Clark. You always have to have more than one player has to defend Caitlin Clark.
Robin Benton into the game for Kentucky. She's been a good bench presence for them since transferring over from Auburn. Green with a strong take to the basket.
Well, I like the way Blair Green has come in and has been aggressive.
Clark, everything's falling for the freshman. 10-point lead.
And Eric, she's been doing that all season long.
Crazy pace right now as Edwards comes back, answers with a three of her own. Clark now defended by Robin Benton. Benton gets whistled for the foul. That was a design play, Tamika. That was a design play to break the press as Clark worked it, and then she was going with speed right away. It wasn't going to stop.
No, definitely Clark, once the ball is in her hands, you've always got to watch out for her. And I like that roll. That's the high bounce.
Cut to the basket, reversing up is Tomi Taiwo, who provided a good spark off the bench in the round one win over CMU in her 22 minutes, wasting no time to contribute off the bench here in round two. Treasure Hunt has come in for Kentucky. The freshman can't hit. Sharon Goodman in for Iowa. Patterson will try a three. No. I think the pace is so fast and it's so frenetic right now that both coaches are really going to have to tap into the reserves here a little bit. We see it in the early going. We've seen how Iowa is not afraid to run with Kentucky right now. We wouldn't doubt that because they're number 2 in the country and scoring it better than 86 points a game. Howard blocked by Goodman. 2 on the shot clock.
Great defense right there. Goodman always eyes up. Ryan Howard drives to the basket.
That's batted back, and it's going to be a shot clock violation and a stop here for Iowa. Turnover number 2 for Kyra Elzy's team.
You talked about the pace of the game, Eric. Both teams are growing really, really fast. Yes, they're going to have to tap into the reserves that are coming in off the bench, but that's one of the plans, is to try to keep fresh bodies on the floor. We saw what happens when Caitlin Clark comes off the floor. We saw that in the Central Michigan game. So trying to make sure, and she's going to stay red hot. Try to make sure that you
Tamika, that is her go-to. You may think she's off balance, especially falling to her left, but she has made so many of those shots this year when she's stepping back and falling to her left. That's when she's most comfortable, it seems, and then taking a couple of feet beyond the three-point line as well. Tie up. Jump ball position here will give it to Iowa.
Well, you definitely feel like she's a little bit off balance, but she comes across, and I don't know about off balance on that. She got her 2 feet set underneath hers. That's right in her range.
More subs coming in and coming out. 1:27 to go in the first as Kate Martin will check out for Iowa.
Coach Elzy trying to find a lineup and trying to find the right people. She's gone through quite a few players on her bench.
Clark will try from the right side. Doesn't get the roll this time, and there's Hunt with the rebound. Off the miss, the quick push for Patterson. Off the mark a couple of times. Patterson 0 for 4 from the field here in the first. Good defense by Howard. Tamika touched on it before, how there's been an emphasis on that part of her game. Green steps into a 3. And Clark slams on the brakes for Iowa.
Well, the pace of the game, you're going so fast. Kentucky's not able to knock down those shots. They almost need to slow down a little bit and try to work the clock and get better looks inside the paint.
Taiwo. They set the screen for Clark. Deep 3. Kentucky ball.
And that's a great screen right there for Clark. You've seen that happen plenty of time. All she needs is a little bit of space to get her shot off.
Patterson walks it across. Will hold for the final shot with 10 to go in the quarter. Olivia Owens into the game for Kentucky. Owens gets the dish. Can't get the handle, and another tie-up. It comes with 0.8 of a second left. This will give the ball to Kentucky, but very little time to do anything with it.
No dribble. Got to go straight up.
They do, and Treasure Hunt got a decent look, just wouldn't drop, and that is it for quarter number 1. Iowa started with an 11-0 run, and they take a lead to the locker room to the end of the first quarter as Caitlin Clark celebrating early in round 2.